Josephus and women. Can you give us, the short explanation of what's Josephus doing here with these figures, with Mariamne, with Herod's sister? She gets brought in as well a lot. She makes it through his story alive,
right?
But she's often connected with these plots. What's the use here, the narrative use that Josephus has? What's his plan with this?
Well, even with Cleopatra, I mean, we see Josephus's description of Cleopatra, right? This is about power and control, and Josephus makes this clear, but we also cannot extricate this from the world in which this was written. Let's keep in mind, let's keep in mind that Josephus has, 3 or 4 wives at least, right? Even though he goes on the record and says, we only have one wife nowadays.
Yes.
We've, ever since Caesar gave this order, we only have one wife, we Jews.
Don't look at my family.
Everything in the Bible says, right? What he himself says in Antiquities. He cannot be extricated from the patriarchal, the misogynist world in which he lives. And so he's going to, I think he's trying to articulate why these women they're victims. Let's just call them what they are. Herod marries her as a token, is trying to, hey, look, I'm marrying into the family. She doesn't want to marry this guy. But again, a lot of these women were married to various relatives, were remarried to other relatives, were divorced and remarried. We know about this with Herod Antipas, and this went on. They were prestige items, and so when he gets called down there because he's killing her relatives, and she's angry about it, and she finds out that Herod has said, by the way, if I don't come back alive, kill her. She's livid. And then when he kills Joseph, she's livid all the more, and she recognizes it's just a matter of time before he kills me, before he kills our kids, it's just a matter of time. So on the one hand, she's absolutely a victim, and it's just a matter of time. And so she's going to do the things, as we read throughout Jewish literary history, these strong women who take it upon themselves to redeem themselves, to deliver themselves, Judith and Esther and Yael and Deborah and these people, Tamar, right? These women, these figures in the Bible who do the right thing, even though if it involves some bad means sometimes, right? Rahab, right? These people who do some things that aren't necessarily above water, but they're doing it to preserve either their people or themselves or whatever. And yet he's also going to tell the sordid details. He's going to get into the weeds, and he's going to, they're doing some bad things so that he can justify, well, this is why he killed her. She wasn't innocent. And so, Josephus, again, not necessarily wanting to pick a side with all this stuff, because at the end of the day, he's got to clear Rome and all of this. At the end of the day, Herod's a bad guy.
But we also have to remember, I think too, like Josephus had talked about Herod when he's coming out after getting the kingship with Mark Antony, between Mark Antony and Caesar. And so we have this, how is he portraying him to the Romans? Is Herod a murderer or out of control, or what's he doing? Using these individuals as scapegoats for Herod's actions of, well, he's acting in response to the plots by individual X, Y, and Z. And sometimes they're male, sometimes they're female, sometimes it's his wife, sometimes it's mother-in-law. But Herod, look, he's responding. He's not going out and seeking these problems. He's trying to be a good king. And Josephus seems to push these figures out onto the stage time and time again as a cause for Herod's response. It's not Herod instigating anything. He's responding to.
Right. But I would also say that in the Bible, just like it is with the death of John the Baptist, when John dies, there is a fundamental shift in what we see with Jesus. So now all those disciples kind of flow towards Jesus, and now Jesus changes his attitude, his disposition, and the whole thing is now not about John anymore, but about Jesus, and the narrative shifts, the approach shifts. It's with the death of Mariamne, when Herod the Great kills Mariamne, accusing her of conspiring against him.
With poison.
Which, look, she had reason to do, right? He's killing off all of her relatives. And he is going after her, right? He put a hit on her as an insurance policy. That's all it was. If I don't come back, kill her. And maybe that will prevent me from getting killed down there in case she's in league with Cleopatra. So
if he's aware that her mother was the one that was behind this summons down, this seems like a good way to say, hey, tell your mom that, you want me to come home.
Right. How's your family doing? Would be a shame if something happened there. I mean, you have to read it. It's not me just coloring it up. This is what's going on, right? So it's with the death of Mariamne that you begin to read in Josephus that he says something fundamentally changed with Herod. That's following the death of his favorite wife. And I say the death of his favorite. He killed her. He had her killed, right? But he broke. Something in his head broke. And he's like, what have I done? That was my favorite wife. Everybody's going to know what I did. And it was from that point on that it was just a downward, this horrible mental health, physical health, right? The psychosomatic, connection. He just went into disrepair. And that was the beginning of the end for him.